Hello once again, and still in February. Welcome to another edition of Life Conversations with Victor James. And how you doing? I don't know. It seems as if the cloud of let me say weariness and tiredness is blowing. Maybe it's from maybe I'm perceiving that it's blowing generally across the world. Maybe it's just my perception, but I just want you to know that you've got it. You are not here by mistake. You've arrived here by some level of competence in your own self, in your ability, and therefore it should give you some courage to know that you can navigate the next few months without breaking down. So you won't break down. In that case, don't give in to the voice that is trying to tell you otherwise. All right. So that's what I just want to say today. And this podcast episode will not be long, but hey, as I used to say. From off the cuff, let me just state clearly that one of the biggest lessons I've learned this year from listening to podcasts and books, ebooks, is that your mind is not your friend. Your mind is not an ally. Please know that your mind does not want your progress. Don't be fooled into thinking or deceived into thinking that this mind of ours wants what is best for us. Not really. The mind wants ease. It wants comfort. So in many instances, you have to think too, how did you get here? Was it through ease and comfort? Not really, no. It was through difficulty and, uncomfortable decisions, growth, and so on. Your mind is not your friend. It's not an ally. It's not a companion. In many instances, it is a fool. Consider somebody who is sick. You are sick, and what is your mind telling you? Don't eat. Of course, eating healthy would build your immune system and help you to fight the sickness. But your mind at that point will reject food. Your mind will be telling you just to be sleeping, just to do things that will be inimical to your own health and further hamper, the recovery that you are already trying to get. You wake up in the morning, what does your mind tell you? You go to WhatsApp status and view people's videos. Go to TikTok and enjoy yourself. Go to Instagram and scroll through. That's what your mind tells you in the morning. When you know your spirit, your being, yourself, you know that what you do is to read the Bible, to get some strength, to give some honor to God before you start the day. Of course, you know this, your being knows it, but your mind always seeking for ease. Your mind, being a fool, would be pushing you towards other things that will just satisfy itself rather than benefit your entire being. Of course, there are, and that this is why systems and habits are good, because a system will help you to retain that whatever great decision you have made, to stick with it. A system will help you, and then your habit is formed by so doing. But every now and then, even when the habit is formed, you will still hear the voice telling you, maybe you have gone on a streak of maybe 2, 3, 4 months. Your mind comes up and then says to you that you should leave the Bible, or says to you that you should go back to what you have stopped doing, or says to you, at that point, again, the mind, what it's seeking after is for you to break one day and then break 2 days, and then you get back to what you have left, or you stop a resolve you have started, because the mind is weak. The mind is an enemy. The mind is not an ally. All right? So I want us to know this. If you consider this, if you can remind yourself of this and remember this, when it is important, you will realize that you will get over temptations easier. The mind, whatever the mind suggests, the first point of call is to reject. The first thing your default setting should not be to accept what the mind says, should be to reject it. You have just finished eating, the mind is just saying that you should leave the food there. You have the responsibility, if you want to build it into your consciousness, that victory, that mentality of doing the right thing, you must, because the mind says that you should sit down and not return that, you must stand and return it. Do you understand? So that is important. That is very, very important. You must not follow and toe the line of what your mind wants or dictates. Of course, I have to give some credit and say that there are some great decisions that I have made, good ones, healthy ones, beneficial ones, that it was the mind that whispered that I should do that. Your mind can tell you to do some good every now and then. I have to agree, admit to that. But even that, whatever your mind tells you, what I just want you to do is to filter. You don't have to do it automatically. Once you are doing it automatically, you are even further weakening your own resolve, your own cautiousness, your own ability to filter a suggestion that emanates from the mind. All right. So your mind is not an ally. Don't assume that it is. The first thing that your mind does is first trick, first weakness, first fear. The first weakness of the mind is fear. And the first fear that we experience in life is fear of darkness. Of course, one of the major tools, weapons of the mind is fear. Don't do that. Don't make that step. Don't. What if you fail? What if they say no? What if you can't do it? Don't move. Don't. What if you die on this journey? Don't do that. Do not. That is fear. And it's one of the most efficient tools that the mind uses to defeat us. So, psychologically, one of the first fears that we have as humans is the fear of darkness. You leave a baby in the night. I'm talking about some weeks old, and wake up, sees darkness. Well, that's the first thing, is to start crying. This continues up probably age of 4, except of course those of us that were raised in this part of the world where darkness is part of our lifestyle. So you and wake up and not feel nothing really, and you just try to find your way out of the dark room, you know. Yeah, but generally we fear darkness, and for me, I think the fear of darkness. In fact, as recent as last December, when I visited my parents, I remember that I stood up around to 12 to go and put off the generator. The generator was behind, as back of the house. Maybe you take about 30 steps before you get there, because yeah, it's at the back of the house. So I stood up around to 12. Now, as I was marching towards where the generator was to switch it off, I could still perceive the fear in my heart, and my heart, that was saying, what if something happens here? What if, what if armed robbers come outside? What if a snake? Why would armed robber, in this number of years that I've lived here, about 20 years, has it ever happened? No. But it does not mean that the mind will not still suggest that fear of something that has never happened. Statistically, it's a 0 or a snake. So what if a snake bites you? It's just a fear of darkness. Of course, I ignored the voice and went back, switched off the gen, even stayed stayed in front of the house to meditate for almost close to 1 hour. I didn't I didn't allow that mind to win. But I know that there are people till today that are still ruled majorly by fear. You want to, no matter what you want to do, rather than the thinking that nothing would happen or that something would happen positively, the next thing is to think that something good will happen. You are traveling, as I was some 2 weeks ago, maybe around 10 p.m. We're on the highway traveling to Lagos. I think that what I thought, my default thinking, and that should be the default thinking of everyone, is that nothing will happen. Something happening is extraordinary. It's not the ordinary. Nothing will happen. Neither positive nor negative, nothing will happen. We will get to where we are going. Positive in the sense that nobody would come out of the bush to come and maybe dash us money. It's not going to happen. Yeah, and then on the other hand, the vehicle is not going to catapult into the air suddenly, or the brake would fail, or armed people just get out of the bush to come and attack us. That is extra. That's not in the ordinary. What happens most times is nothing happens, and therefore the laws of nature, you get home, which I got home, no problem. But I I just know that it's very likely too that fear would rule over one's heart, and before you go on any endeavor, any adventure, any decision, the first thing you are thinking about is, what if something bad happens? That can't be the life. That can be life. I don't know how you want to rate, under what measurement you want to use to rate this world. It cannot be, whether you want to rate this world by riches, I mean wealth, financially. You want to rate this world by happiness. I want to rate this world by the level of impact. None of them, impact, riches, adventure, joy, happiness, none of them can be achieved by living a life that is subject to constant fear. You are afraid that something will happen. You are afraid that something will happen. You are afraid that something will happen. Nothing will even happen to you positively will ever happen to you. In fact, I would think that, like a magnet, you would be attracting. You will be attracting inexplicable and both explainable matters, negativity into your life. In that case, now I think that you must let go of fear. The mind that is suggesting all the suggestion, don't forget, it's not your ally. The mind is not your ally, and therefore you cannot be subject to every one of its whim and caprices. It cannot just be at the beck and call of whatever your mind suggests. Don't go, don't attempt it when you will fail. Come on now, you can't live life that way. Maybe this story would help. I remember when I did my first job. I think when I was, is it 13 now? Yeah, I worked with, after I think, I worked as a call center agent when phones just got out. I did not a call center agent, all those small shops that you just put a canopy together and people will be making calls. At that point, phones were not very popular. Nobody had phones, let me just say, except people that were doing it, using it for business. So people were coming to make calls. I think it was 30 naira per 1 minute, for 1 minute at that point. And I worked there for about 2 months. I was the one that was staying in that. It's not a shop. You just put 2 chairs together, put a canopy in the middle of it, and sit down by the side of the road. Then if people want to call anybody, they bring their phone number. Then you collect they give your phone number. You will type in they'll give the phone number they want to call. You type in the number, and then you would from there you would call. After 1 minute, you would give them back. Of course, people will hurry to say what they want to say. Then you return return the phone to you. You say it's 30 naira for 1 minute. So yeah, if it's more than 1 minute, of course. That was nice to have said that, because this part of the memory, you may not remember it again. Anyway, so yeah, in this case now, that was the first one. So the second job, the main job that I had, was as a clerk or receptionist. I just was overseeing the affairs of an educational institution. When I finished SS3, I was waiting to resume school. So for 6 months, I was serving as a secretary, sort of an admin. I think that's the right way. An admin officer. Would attend to parents, attend to students, attend to teachers. I would sweep the center, the educational center too. So yeah, that was my first job. Now this meant that I was closing around 7 o'clock. It just started from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So when I closed, I would have to go home on the other end of town, take it's like two cabs, two taxis to get home. So then I will now trek from the last junction because you want to save money. Of course, you are doing a clerk job. You want to you want to be spending anyhow to take a motorcycle to the front of your house. No, now. So most times, always, in fact, except when I carry heavy load, I would trek. Now you are trekking by this time. It probably be 8 p.m. So you are trekking. It was a private new area of town, like an estate sort of, but there were a lot of bushes on the path. So, and in these bushes, I know for a fact that previously I had seen, I had seen snakes. Not yes, well, dead or living. Maybe once in 2 years, we know that there would be snakes there. So now it has never. I've never encountered snakes on my way, but I knew that they were there. So anyway, I was for the 6 months. I would be walking around on a path that was about maybe 2 kilometers, about 50 minutes trek along paths that were rough, not tarred road. The roads, no road was tarred. There were bushes there, so maybe that's why I had to overcome. It was at this point of my life that I overcame fear. I think when I was 16, I remember. So how did I do that? When you are walking till late, and then you are walking home. You have to reason it. At the beginning, maybe you are walking, you are trying to walk home, and then you suddenly the fear does in the way that is when a fear comes now. The mind will just be telling you that, what if there are snakes? What if snakes come out? What if a lion come? Is there a lion in Nigeria at all? Same thing as zoo. What if somebody comes out to attack you and collect money from you? What if? What if? So once that thought begins like a cloud descending upon your head, automatically adrenaline flows, flight or flight hormone, and then your feet, your muscles begin to move quickly. Even whether you want or not, you begin to, before you know it, you will start running. Why are you running? No reason. Not really. So you just start running. And then your mind heartbeat picks up because you are now pumping blood faster to the muscle. Why did all this happen? Because imagination of your mind. Nothing really happened. Now I asked myself, can I do this for 6 months? I can't. So I had to resolve it. So I think I remember that I now began to ask myself, have I seen snake before? Really? How many times in this my life have I ever encountered snake? One. In fact, fun fact, I had eaten snake before I saw snake. There was a man who used to work in a farm. I was about daddy junior, 9, 10 years. So he killed a snake from in his farm on time, and then he killed it, brought it home. They cooked it. They shared it. I ate part of. I knew we saw this. He saw this inside a sack. They gave us. We ate it. So I didn't. I never seen a snake, but of course, we grew up with Hollywood and Anaconda film, and then Nollywood too, that spiritualized snakes, and Indian films too. So you have a fear of snake. In fact, my elder sister till now, I hate snake too till now. Let me not even use only my elder sister. Just that her own is quite extraordinary. So it was movies that made that fear very, very thick. And I guess maybe by nature, because we all came from Garden of Eden, maybe by nature we just want to. We have heard that the snake will try to bruise our head. We will try to bruise his head. I don't know, maybe. But for me, I believe it was the exposure to media. I just felt that snake is after us. No reason. So now back to me working as an admin officer and going home late. My head was all filled with that thought, but I knew it was not sustained. So I asked myself, how many times have I seen snake? It was just once that I've seen a snake. In fact, at that point, I didn't know it was a live snake until I had passed. I was walking from secondary school one day. Then I just saw something shining in a hole. I walked past it. I had gone past, like 2 steps past, before that cold chill just went down my spine. That, dear Jesus, that was a snake. I just continued moving. I avoided that path for a long time. So yeah. So when the fear began to come, now that I was I had to be walking that distance every night. I had to, resolve it, because I cannot be panicking for what does not exist. So yeah, I just calmed myself around the first weeks, the first months. I would just be walking and just telling myself nothing will happen. The first time, nothing happened. The second day, nothing will happen. As I walk, I'm saying it. Then later on, I got earphones, start playing music. Nothing will happen. Nothing happened. Nothing will happen. Nothing happened. I just later realized that there are no armed men that would kidnap me on this road. There is no lion or tiger that will come out and attack me. Nothing will happen. There is no juju man that would say they want to. Nothing will happen. And nothing has happened. Statistically, nothing happened. I just forgot about it. It was that broke my existence. That broke fear. That was the end. That was the end. When I now went to school, I would go out at night to read. It never even crossed my mind. But of course, darkness was just the first fear. Darkness and what can happen in the dark was the first fear that I think once you can overcome that, you can overcome a lot. Nowadays, if I want to go to a vigil at night, I would go. Nothing would happen, I would just tell myself statically, what would happen? But I know adults, like people who are 60 something, that the fear, 50 something, 40, even 70, the fear that is so palpable, as if it can be taught, as if it's a substance, it feeds their soul so much that it affects their body, their spirit. They become incapacitated, as if paralyzed momentarily because of fear. That is when somebody you want to present a seminar, you hold the mic, you stand in front of people, you can't move the mic to your mouth, you can't open your mouth, your vocal cord ceases. It is fear. It's at the root of it is fear. What would people say? I would fail. What if I don't do well? Come on now. Can we really, as flesh and blood, can we really master what would be in the future? Do we have a say in what will be in the future? Not really. No matter how smart you are, what you are controlling is the present. You are controlling the present so that you can predict, or rather, it can project you to an outcome in the future. You cannot affect the future. Nah, not really. You can only do some things about the present. You do your best about the present, but you can't predict the outcome of the future. For anything we are doing, it is a gift of God. Or maybe you want to say it is a deficiency that God put in every man. You can't affect the future. What you can only do is to influence it by what you are doing now. It's the same thing. It's not a motivation, even though yes, it can be used for motivation to drive one's effort. But really, what I'm saying is you can't control outcome. And outcome fear is based on negative outcomes. All fears, all kinds of fear are based on you believing that the outcome of something in the near future will be negative. But yeah, nothing happens. Nothing happens, really. So yes, this podcast is to tell you that you must resolve your fear. One of the first things to know is to know that your mind is not an ally. Whatever your mind suggests, just know that it's usually inimical to your journey, to your progress. It doesn't help it. It tries to, in fact, hamper your journey. Just know that, first of all. Secondly, just know that statistics, yes, I mean it, data-driven decision, statistics does not favor fear. I don't know what you want to say. Let's say I love football a lot. let's say there is the onslaught of attackers coming at me. Let's say I'm a goalkeeper. I'm afraid that they would score. But in 90 minutes, how many goals occur in 90 minutes? Typically, maybe 2, statistically. So every time that attackers are coming, they would score. Or in 90 minutes, 94th minute corner kick against your favorite team. What if they score in 94 minutes? How many times people score in 94 minutes? Those are the things I used to calm myself, because these are present existential fear for me. That you are in the biggest competition of your life, and then you think somebody would just disqualify your favorite team or disqualify your team in the last goal of the very last second. That is extraordinary. It happens, but statistically. So statistics. Number one, establish that foundational thought process that fear is a product of the mind, and the mind does not want you to do well. So that fear is actually stopping you. It's a tactic to stop you from doing well, from becoming a better person. 2, know that data does not support the outcome being against you. Then thirdly, know that fear, as declared by the general superintendent of my community, fear is false expressions appearing real. False expressions appearing real. False expressions appearing real. That is fear. It just appears to be real, but it is false. It is false. It doesn't happen. It won't happen. And now, as adults, you must master your emotion, master your feelings. One of those feelings is the feeling of fear. Master it too. The same way that you would see somebody, no matter how beautiful they are, you cannot pass on them. No matter how fancy you fancy them, male or female, you cannot say, I want to obey the dictate of your flesh. No, now you even not talk. You even shut it down quickly. It's the same thing. You have mastered that fear. You are not going to see somebody's property because they are not in the shop. You are not going to try and steal a loaf of bread. It seems foolish, right? It's the same thing. If you see suggestions of fear as being foolish suggestions, you get me? That is how I believe we can overcome fear. And of course, the important thing now, what we can always do is to pray against it. I banish fear from my life. You are consciously speaking against it, and you are acting as someone who believes that they have overcome fear. So I don't know what you want to do in your life right now, what decision you are thinking of making, and you are hesitating, you are afraid. You are afraid. I don't know the kind of life you live. Maybe you live a life that is just filled with fear of several things. You're always afraid, you're always panicking, you're always worried, and you know that medically this is not sustainable. This is not a lifestyle that you want to sustain. I call out to you from this podcast that you should leave fear. Let it go. Let it go. There is nobody that would escape this life. I love the fact that we will all die. I love it because it makes it futile. You're trying to preserve yourself, or you're trying to not do anything, or you're trying to not take risk, or your fear, it will fail in the long term. So yes, rise up, arise and shine. Thank you very much for listening, and have a powerful future.